So I just finished Good Girl, Bad Blood, the sequel to A Good Girl's Guide for Murder, and this book was a lot better than the first. Still not a 5-star read for me, but a solid 4. Because I really did not care in the beginning. I was like, this is kind of a stupid plot. Because there was a scene, which I talked about in my last video, I believe, where, so in this book, Pip is asked to help find one of her friend's missing brothers. She goes to the police and she's like, hey, can you guys make this a priority? And they're like, no. An 8-year-old was just abducted. And she's like, okay, but this 24-year-old is missing. This 24-year-old who regularly, like, will skip town for a couple days is missing. And it's only been, like, a day. Not even. So why don't you put the little girl on hold to look for him? And I was like, this is just a really stupid premise. Oh my god, it got so much better as it went on, and it wasn't muddled down with a bunch of other plots and plot twists to kind of throw in red herrings. It was just so good. Highly recommend this one. I guess you would have to read the first book. I read it in May, I believe, so I did kind of forget who everyone was. But it does kind of remind you. And one of my friends is reading the first book, so if I got really confused, I could have asked for refreshers. But yeah, I would suggest this book. I liked it. I would probably reread it and look for little hints and clues and stuff. But yeah, that's the first book of July. Okay, so I finished As Good as Dead, the third book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. Oh my god, it was the best book in the trilogy. I loved Pip's little descent into PTSD madness. That was written so beautifully. Very dark. I had to stop reading the book last night because I got scared in ways that The Whisper Man, which I read during January, scared me. So that's fun. It was terrifying at parts, but very, like, addicting. I did not want to stop reading. I just recognized that I needed to go to bed and I needed to sleep in the dark, and I didn't want to keep reading because I was scared of the dark. I have already gotten a friend to read these books. I know they're pretty popular on TikTok, so it's not like a big deal, but you know, I'm excited to see her reactions to things that I just kind of had to keep to myself. Yeah, the third book was definitely the best book in the series. There were some parts where it's like, Kate, are you guys stupid? Like, some things were so obvious. Pip in the first 2 books would have realized it, but I am kind of excusing that for her new outlook on life that she has with her PTSD and, like, her new doubts with kind of the justice system and, like, the police of her town. So it did make sense. It was just like, okay, really, you're reading this email about he's always at dinner and you don't think it's this person's dad, you know? Like, it was very obvious. Also, your younger brother at one point was like, there's a scary person outside across the street, and you start getting stalked and you aren't like, those are connected, you know? So yeah, the ending hurt more than I wanted it to. I was very sad because what the fuck, Pip? But that little, like, I don't want to say epilogue, but like the epilogue really just, I need another book. I need Pip to be happy. I need Pip and Robbie to be just married and happy. That's what I want. That's what I need. Please give it to me. I need that helicopter to shut the fuck up. But yeah, that's kind of where I am right now. I am excited to see what else I read this month. It is only day 3 of July, so we're already off to a good start. So hopefully I can keep that start. So yeah, see you with the next book. Hello, babes. So I finished a book called Cowboys and Aliens. It was just a short little thing I had on Kobo because I wanted some smut. I gotta be honest with you. I just wanted to read smut. and I thought it would have smut, but it didn't really. There was a lot that made me think there was going to be smut, and then it was just like, it wouldn't make an old lady go, you know? It was like, all right, we're literally ending the book on an orgasm that you didn't like give me enough to believe. Does that make sense? I just didn't believe the couple. They'd only met like 2 times. It was very short. It was a very short, like 100 pages on my Kobo. I think even less in real life. And I think that's where it fell short. But it should have been longer, because then the author could have fleshed out some things and maybe made it a little bit more believable. The book is about an alien. I've already forgotten her name because I actually read this a few nights ago. Forgot to record a thing for it. It's about an alien who she's been tasked to make a holiday for the first year celebration of the peace on the planet they're in, and she picks Thanksgiving. So she has to go learn or try to get animals and like the food for Thanksgiving, basically. She meets a cowboy. He has a cow. She just needs to take a sample and then she can grow genetically modified meat or whatever the fuck, I don't know. And then they fall in love and bang. And literally right away, they were horny for each other, like the second they met, which is why I thought the smut was going to be good, but it wasn't. And I am really talking about this much more than I should be. But yeah, I don't know, if you want just like a short read. There was a date scene, like they did go on a date before they banged, and I just wish that had been longer, because the date gets interrupted. She has to go do something. It's during the Thanksgiving celebration. She has to go do something, and he's alone. And I just wish that she hadn't been interrupted, because then the author could have fleshed it out more. And it was also a cute scene, but then it was very short. Like, very, very short. Shorter than it should have been. Yeah. That's all I gotta say. Hello. I finished the second Keepers of the Lost Cities book. I think I read the first one in May. So it's been a while. I started this one right after. Made it about 200 pages in, and then stopped for a couple months, and then just picked it up from the spot. So I was a bit confused. Did some Googling, got some spoilers, but we finished the book, and I just need to say I love this cover more than anything. I don't know why, but this cover alone convinced me to buy the series physically just so I could have this. I don't know what it is. Just the colors, the art, I don't know. I just love it. So I am a Keith fan first, a human being second, just so we're on the same page here. My hair looks a lot worse than it is. But yeah, the plot was fun. I thought it was going in a direction, and I was all excited for it to go in that direction, and then it didn't. So that was kind of disappointing, but also fun, even though because I hyped myself up for something that didn't happen. So it was like, oh dang, but I still really enjoyed where it went. But yeah, I'm curious to see how they will continue on in the next book, which I have already cracked the spine for. So it's time to start reading, even though it's like 1:30 in the morning and I should be asleep. Hello, so I finished a couple books since I last updated you guys, and they were all on my phone, so I don't have any of them here. First book was The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School, and that was my most anticipated book of the year. Unfortunately, it fell short. I think I'm just outgrowing a lot of the modern young adult books, because I don't know, a lot of the new releases I just haven't cared for. there were some parts, like, it would be a very serious topic, and then it would be like, and now we're twerking. And it's like, why are you twerking? So there were just things like that that I didn't like. But I could definitely see, maybe besides the twerking part, why a younger audience might like the parts I didn't enjoy. It's just like twerking literally is, nobody does that anymore. Nobody. And if they do, it's because they're stuck in the past and don't know that it's now 2022. They don't know about literally anything that's going on in the world, you know? So it's just things like that. But yeah, I would suggest this book if you are looking for like just a kind of cheesy young adult book about a lesbian. I liked the characters well enough. Sometimes they were a bit silly or a bit immature, but also they're like, 16 and 15? They're teenagers, you know? I don't remember what it's like to be a teenager anymore. A few years ago, but I already forget. Yeah. I don't know. It also seemed like there was a lot the author was trying to cram in there. So it wasn't really like a guide to Catholic school. For lesbians. It was more of like, here's this character's life. Her name's Yami. Here's this character's life. She also happens to go to Catholic school. Also, one of the most racist characters was named Karen. Can we stop spoon feeding our audience, please? Like, come on, really? Like, the second it was like, I'm Karen, I was like, of fucking course you are. You know? So, things like that. It just... Oh, my pen fell. It's fine. But things like that are why it just wasn't as good as I hoped. But the cover is fucking gorgeous, so I'll keep saying that. Literally read it because the cover is pretty. The other book I finished was called Suggested Reading. And it was not that good. It wasn't great. It's about a girl, I think her name was Clara, I genuinely kept forgetting, who goes again to Catholic school. I'm seeing a theme for these two. Or it's Christian school, I don't know. They wear uniforms and talk about God. And it's the first day of her senior year, and she reads some teacher's private emails and finds out, oh, they're banning a bunch of books that I love. So she starts like an underground library in her school, which sounds fantastic. I was actually planning a book like this once, but then it turned into like a Twilight-esque bear romance. So, who knows what that is, but, you know, it had a lot of potential, but then it just sucked. I'm so sorry. It was not good. Like, the main character felt so young. Not like, you know, someone who's about to literally graduate school. And the whole time, she was grappling with this, like, oh, like, you know, our principal wants to ban these books. Am I any better because I'm, like, circulating these books through the school because I got mad at him? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, you're better than him because you are putting literature in the hands of people who want to read it. You're not trying to dictate them. And then we find out the principal didn't even want to ban the books. It was just some dude's mom was, like, paying him to do it because she's rich. And she didn't like that her kid was gay. So let's ban all these books about racism, because that makes sense. There was some line, I can't remember. I was going to say it because I was like, this perfectly, like, just quotes conservatives. This is what they think. This is how they are. But I can't remember, and I've already returned it to the library, so we're never going to know what the quote is. But, yeah, it wasn't great. It's also, there's this one character, spoiler alert, trigger warning for suicide. He's very suicidal because he's the gay kid that his parents don't like, that he's gay. And he does try to take his life, and he kind of does this reference to The Catcher in the Rye, because, like, oh, Holden's only happy in the mental hospital, and I'm never going to be happy. And so our main character has this worry of, like, oh no, did I push him over the edge? this is all because of me. Bitch, you know his parents are homophobes. You know that if this man comes out to anyone else, he's gonna get kicked out of his house. Do you really think that he did this solely because of your book? No. What the fuck? It was so stupid. And everyone, when they comfort her about it, they're like, no, it wasn't just you. Like, he had some other things going on. Maybe it was the book. But, no. I'm not trying to sound insensitive here, but suicide is not an everyone decision. You know, you don't go to a group meeting and go, okay, guys, so I read this book, and now I'm going to kill myself because of the book. Does that sound right? And everyone goes, oh, yeah. No, it is a personal decision that is a lot more than just, oh, I read this book and this character gets better after he gets actual help. That's not how it works. Okay? So it was stupid. And it was only there to add drama to the main character. It wasn't there to show anything about how, like, banning books is bad. Because it kind of made her argument stupid. Like, oh, books are important and they're good for people. Because then it was like, no, they're not, because this guy tried to off himself because of a book. No, he did that because his mom's a fucking psychopath. Also, she has a villain speech. The main character is up for some scholarship award, and the mom is sitting at her table for some important reason that I don't remember. And then her mom's like, come walk with me. And, like, his mom is like, come walk with me, and takes the main character to some hidden room somewhere and starts just going in on her, like, people like you are the problem. I'm trying to protect my son from the books that you read. And she just has this whole villain speech. Like, do you really think conservatives are smart enough to come up with a whole villain speech about why they hate books? No, they're not. They're fucking stupid. Because they ban books. They don't read. They don't know how to do speeches. Come on now. You're giving them too much credit. But yeah, it was very cheesy and dumb. And, yeah. I don't know what else I have to say. I feel like I forgot one other book, so I'm gonna go check. And, yeah. Okay, no, I did not forget about a book. It was just those two. Now I'm curious about what I thought I had forgotten. Who knows? But yeah, so that is those two, I guess. Not the best. Probably wouldn't suggest suggested reading. Yeah. Hello. I finished a book called The Puffin Keeper. Because it had a lighthouse on the cover. I saw it on Libby. Two things I love. Books and lighthouses. It was a juvenile fiction book, so it was pretty short. But it was still really good. Made me emotional. I did cry. It's about an old man who runs a lighthouse, who saves a bunch of people from a shipwreck, and years later one of the kids from the group of people he saved, like, goes back to see him because he can't stop thinking about this man, and they kind of, like, live on this island together. And sorry, I just woke up. Fuck. What do? They find, like, the lighthouse keepers found an injured puffin, and they're on, like, Puffin Island, but puffins haven't been there for years, and then the two of them help care for this puffin. Then the kid is to go off to war, and after that he comes back, and the puffins have returned, and it is so beautiful. Oh, I love it. The art was so beautiful. I loved the art. I enjoyed the story. It was adorable. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta read, books outside of your age range. Hello, I had another night of not sleeping, so I read Everblaze, the third Keeper of the Lost City books. This one is probably one of my least favorite covers, just because of that. I don't know, that color doesn't fit literally anything on the cover. I don't like looking at it. This book was very intense. Oh my god. I was not expecting that. Like, I made it, I don't know, somewhere. I was at some point in the book, and then I tried sleeping, realized, oh, that's not working. Kept reading. Oh my god. It was so intense. Probably didn't help. But then I finished it and I still couldn't sleep. So, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to spoil much, but it, like, fuck, it was so good. I need Sophie and Keith to get together. I need them to be the endgame ship. I don't care about Fitz. Fuck him. Dex. Fuck him. I need it to be Sophie and Keith. Okay, that's what I got for you. Hello, so I finished 2 more books. I finished a book called Hide. It's kind of like the Hunger Games mixed with Squid Game, which are basically the same things. So sorry for the noise. There's a bunch of screaming children next door. This is kind of the only place I can film. Hide was okay. I had very high expectations. It did not meet any of them. I just need to start lowering my expectations for books. I liked the author's note in the end, where she talked about the inspiration for the book coming from, like, her child is starting school, and they have a stained glass window to deter school shooters from shooting children. I think that would have been a more strong premise, opposed to, oh, here's an amusement park with something killing people in it, and they're in a, like, fake game show. So, yeah, that one, not my favorite. But maybe other people will like it. I cared about one person out of the 14 characters, and, you know, caring about 1 out of 14 character doesn't even make it to the end. Not great. The other book I finished is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. My grandma is currently reading it, so I cannot show it to you, but I had a physical copy. Fantastic. Beautiful book. Made me cry when they fucked. I don't know why, but I was crying. Sorry, there are so many mosquito bites all over my body. I just wish they had kind of dived deeper into Elliot's trauma from being assaulted. Spoiler alert. Because it was kind of passed off as like, oh yeah, spoilers, I cheated on her. Even though the next time I tried to get with a woman, I broke down crying and had a panic attack. Sir, that is trauma. But so that's kind of my only gripe, is that even the right word? I don't know. I just kind of wish that was addressed more as, oh, he was taken advantage of, as opposed to he was blackout drunk and cheated on her, because that's not the story that it was really presenting, but that's how the apology happened. But yes, I love that book. I love romance. I love romance so much. But yeah, I will probably film a proper wrap-up for all of the books I read in July when I get home, or maybe later when it's quieter out. I don't know. But we'll see, because I can't upload this until I'm home anyways. There's no Wi-Fi here. Hence, probably why August will have a couple more books in it. Because there's not much else to do besides swim and read and eat. Okay, so I kind of dropped the ball on filming these. Oopsies. So sorry this is coming so late. This is for July. Sorry, I'm on my story graph so I can see what I read in July. Where does it show? There we go. So I read 10 books in July. Wow, that's exciting. You might notice that I'm in a new position. My bed's on the floor now. My bed frame kept falling apart, so I'm just a mattress on the floor. Anyway, so I read 10 books in July. They're not in order on here for some reason, but I'll just go through some of them. So I read the sequel to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Good Girl, Bad Blood, and the third book, As Good as Dead. The ending to book 2 was fucking amazing. Oh my god. I stan A Slow Descent into Insanity. Well, a quick one. I stan people dealing with trauma in dark ways, which is why book 3 was my favorite of the trilogy. Gave it 5 stars. Sure, it's different. I read a lot of reviews. People didn't like it because, like, oh, it's so different, but I fucking loved it. Pip's, like, inability to just trust anyone and the serial killer aspect was so creepy. It was so good. I would highly suggest reading the trilogy just to read that book and the, like, very end of book 2. So good. Oh! I also read one of my most anticipated reads of the year. The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. And unfortunately, it was not for me. I keep finding every book that is my most anticipated is never for me. I can see why people would like it. I really can. Maybe if I was younger, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But, I don't know. I am outgrowing most, like, contemporary young adult books, I find, every time well, not every time. That's actually a lie. I've actually read a lot this year that I enjoy. I don't know. There's some young adult books that definitely just feel younger for, like, a younger audience, and this unfortunately was one of them. There was a scene where the siblings came out to each other and then they were twerking. That's all I remember. Like, I didn't need to read that. It was weird. It just felt like the author was trying to be hip with the teens, which is what a lot of young adult books feel like to me. But you know what? Still is one of the most beautiful covers I've seen in a long time. So. And then I read a book called Suggested Reading. It is about a girl who kind of runs an underground library in her school out of her locker, which is the plot of a book I was gonna write. But also she bangs a dude who can shapeshift into a bear, like the werewolves in Twilight, but a bear, while also running an underground library out of her locker. I don't know why those were the 2 plot points, but I realized as a writer, I can just do what I want. There's an audience somewhere. But anyways, this one does not include any shape-shifting boyfriends. I don't remember if it had a boyfriend, but I did not like this book at all. Just because, like, the writing wasn't great. The characters were stupid. It felt juvenile, once again. This character reads a book. What is the book? The one with the sad boy and the horse. Catcher in the Rye. He reads that and he's like, oh, I'm never gonna get better from my depression, so I might as well kill myself because this book shows me there's no hope. So now the main character is like, oh no, can books be bad? Or homeboy was just going through shit and just didn't need to read the book at that time. But still, like, homie was going through shit. So, I don't know. It's been a while since I read that one, but it was not... It has such a cool cover and a cool concept. It just fell very flat. I also read 2 of the Keeper of the Lost Cities books. I read book 2, which has one of my favorite covers of anything anywhere. Just the colors, I don't have it here. My bookshelf is a mess. It's somewhere over there. But it is so, so beautiful. Let me see if I can get it bigger for you guys. And I'll just hold it up. Oh, you won't get the justice of it, but just Sophie, her hair, like the blonde of her hair, the brown of her eyes, just the shirt, like the tunic shirt dress thing she's wearing, the little light in her hand, it's just all so beautiful. The colors come together beautifully. Literally, if I hadn't been suggested the series and I saw book 2, I probably would have read the first 2 at least, just to own that. Because I am a woman of simple tastes, and that's good book covers. I also read the third book, Everblaze, in a night. I read it in like 6 hours when I was supposed to be asleep. Because I couldn't sleep, and then I kept getting stressed. And I literally had to look up spoilers because I got so stressed. And it was like, I don't know if I can read on because I was getting a bit tired. So I read a plot synopsis, and then I was like, fuck, I need to finish this. So I did. I need to continue this series. It is very fun. There is a lot of, like, ship name talk. It's not supposed to be ship names, but I find that annoying. Especially in book 4, which I did start in August. I just haven't finished it yet, but, like, oh my god. Shut up about the names. Stop combining your names and being like, this one's better. I don't care. I really don't care. Knock off a whole star for that. I also read a book called Cowboys and Aliens. It is a book I found on my Kobo, and it's about a dude who bangs an alien. He's a cowboy. She's a business alien. Who's trying to put on the first Thanksgiving Mars has had. I wish it wasn't so short, because I feel like if it had been fleshed out a lot more, because it's a short story, if it had been fleshed out, like, to, like, by 300 more pages, it would have been fun. Would have gotten, like, a solid 3 stars instead of 2. Especially the date scene, I wanted more. Sex wasn't that great for a book I downloaded just for the smut. Okay, and then I also read a book called The Puffin Keeper. This was kind of a short, like, children's book, but I saw a lighthouse, and I borrowed it from the library. That one was really good. I am a slut for lighthouses, and also it made me cry, so that was fun. You probably already all know this from the rest of the video. And then I read a book called Hide, which was my other most anticipated read, and I couldn't tell if the author was homophobic or not for a little bit. It just kind of confused me, and then I pieced it all together. That book could have been better. The author's note was the most exciting part. And even that... Sorry, the skunk is back. And then I also read a book called Love in Other Words. I loved that book. I am a slut for good romances, especially friends to lovers, because ya girl is the friends to lovers trope. Was there one bed? I don't know. Not in this book. Oh my god. I should be in bed. I have to work tomorrow. I have to wake up too early for me to still be awake right now. Love in Other Words was probably my favorite book that I read that month, just because romance made me cry. The characters fucked and I cried. Why? I don't know. I think there's something psychological there, because it happened One Summer as well. The characters banged and I sobbed. Not because it was like, oh, trauma. It was just like, wow, they're so in love. So that's interesting. Psychoanalyze this, bitch. Anyways, those are the 10 books I read in July. Did I read any of my book club books? No. Have I only read 2? Yeah. Is there 12? Yes. It's fine. It's fine.